Hey everyone, I'm NornQueenAlexis and welcome back to the channel and welcome to this 9th edition intro. Does this count as an intro? I'm gonna count it as an intro. So we are going to be going over all of 9th edition, starting with today with the basic rules. This is going to be a very long series. I'm going to try to get this out as quickly as possible because I know that every other YouTuber is doing the exact same thing right now, but I feel that I have a certain way of wording things that makes it make even less sense than the rulebook actually could. So let's dive into this. So there are some big differences to 9th edition that we do need to know about, and some small differences from 8th edition. This is essentially 8.5 with some slight updates. I was really skeptical about this when it first was revealed to me. I was kind of hoping that it was just going to be an 8.5 edition with just some mild updates and fixes and everything, but it turns out that it was an actual full edition, which I didn't really like, but is what it is. So, basic rules. This is on page 197 of your core rulebook, which is actually just called the core book now, which has this much lore in it, which I think is unnecessary, but, you know, you're buying a $100 book, you might as well get some lore out of it, even though it's the same stuff that we've seen 1,000 times already. So, basic rules. Okay. So we got the missions, armies, the data sheets, keywords. Keywords are back. If you are a Warhammer player from the good old boomer days of 6th, 7th, and 8th edition, not 8th edition, but from 3rd through 7th edition, you know that keywords were huge, especially last edition and 6th edition. 6th edition was keyword soup and it was super annoying. 7th edition, they put keywords and then they gave you even more keywords. 8th edition did away with keywords, which I thought was a huge mistake since Deep Strike is just Deep Strike, and we always refer to it as Deep Strike because Deep Strike is Deep Strike, and stop taking away Deep Strike. Anyway. And then we have things like what actually is a unit, because as an absolute unit myself, I can tell you I know a thing or two about units. That sounded a lot worse when I said it. Not gonna lie. That in my head that was completely different, and it wasn't as bad as that. You know what? Let's just read this. So basic rules. This is page 196 to 197. I think this actually goes over for a few more pages. Yes, it even covers measuring distance because everybody needs to know how to measure. Start at the base and then you work your way up. Then we got dice, roll-offs, and then it goes into the data sheets, which I don't think really needs explaining too much for data sheets. They're the same as 8th edition. If you played 8th edition, there you go, boom. So, missions. To play the game of Warhammer 40k, you must first select a mission. The missions will tell you how to muster your armies, create your battlefield, and deploy your armies. It will tell you any special rules that apply to the battle, and most importantly, what you need to do to win. You can find more about this on page 236. Nothing changed there, okay? So if you're playing in 8th edition and you're playing now, literally nothing changed. It is what it is. So then we have armies. Each player in the game of Warhammer 40k commands an army of Citadel miniatures, or in my case, sometimes third-party miniatures as well. But I digress. If I'm at a GW store, I will use only their products because that is respectful. But if I'm playing my Sisters of Battle, you know damn well I'm going to have some Raging Heroes in there. I'm going to have some Creature Caster stuff in my Demon army. You know that I'm going to have a whole plethora of stuff for my armies. But I digress. Referred to as models. You know, like this model in front of you. Anyway, where was I? The missions you have selected will guide you on how big your army should be. 2,000 points. Here's how your army should be, okay? There's a few levels of 40k play that you should do. One is 500 points. This is the bare minimum for an actual 40k game that most people will agree to. Prior to that, you're playing Kill Team, okay? Boom, done. There you go. And then you have 750 points, then it goes up to 1,000, then you have 1,250, then you have 1,500, then you have 1,750 or 1,850, depending on the age of your player that you're going up against. Boomers tend to like 1850 games because it reminds them of 5th edition, 6th edition, when that was the tournament standard. But then they changed it to 1750 and then to 2,000 points. 2,000 points is the most average game. This allows you to have a full plethora of an army to fight alongside with and, you know, get really confused and get into rules arguments with your opponent. Because that's what this game is truly about, arguing with your opponent. A good measure of oh my god, I'm going to do this. I am going to do this. A good measure of the size of the army is its power level. This isn't true. This is a lie that GW is trying to feed you. Do not use power level. Power level is stupid and unbalanced. Never use power level for anything aside from summoning or acquiring kill points. Use points. Points are way more balanced. Everybody uses points. Don't use power level. So we're just going to skip that whole part right there because that is dumb. Okay? Warhammer 40k is designed to be played with armies of certain sizes, if the combined rules, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. So, you show up to a game, you look at your opponent, you go, hey dude, or dudette, depending, or maybe, well, how do you say they as a dude? I'm trying to be inclusive here. How would you, because you can say dude, dudette. Thude? Does thude work? That's a new word. There you go. That's the they thude. Anyway. You agree with your opponent on your size of your army. You both pick a certain army. You both roll off your remission, and you both play. Okay? Boom, done. Data sheets. Data sheets are the same. No difference there. Keywords. All data sheets have a list of keywords separated into faction keywords and other keywords. The former can be used... Oh god, they're going to use the word former. That's not very smart. People are really dumb, and the former can be very much misconstrued, but whatever. The former can be used to guide you to help decide models into certain armies. Easiest way of saying this is your armies have to have a certain keyword in common, like Adeptus Sororitas, or Space Marines, for instance, Adeptus Astartes. They'll have to have the certain chapter to be in a certain detachment with each other. So, boom, there you go. Keywords appear in the rules. Keyword bold font. What? That's actually what it says right there. Keywords appear in rules in keyword bold font. I assume you're supposed to scream that, but since I have roommates that are both, well, one is on her computer and the other one is sleeping currently, I am not going to yell that, but act like I did. Alright, so next up. Keyword rules apply to units and models that the keyword, or with that keyword. I swear they wrote this and they just wanted to speed past this part. Keywords are chosen by you when your unit is added to your army. So they have the keyword in the, I think they're called ampersands? I can never remember. It's like the greater and minus symbol. But yeah. Keywords help you build your army, essentially. They are the faction keywords and the other keywords. Certain keywords have certain rules. They can be found in the big rule book. They don't actually tell you what page they can be found on, even though that would be super convenient. They actually don't do that, and they probably should have included a page of just faction keywords and exactly what they mean by them, but they didn't do this for no reason. So this whole section on keywords is ultimately pointless. Read your codex. There you go. They're finally defining what a unit is, an absolute unit. A group of models in the same, a group of models from the same data sheet is now a unit. So this can be a model that is just a single character, such as this Hive Tyrant right here, or this Hive Tyrant right here, or this Hive Tyrant right here, or, do I grab my 4th Hive Tyrant? You got it, right? I grabbed my 4th Hive Tyrant. Or, oh, hang on, stop fighting me. Your 4th Hive Tyrant. No, but jokes aside, well, I just said that with my boob. Jokes aside, what a unit is, and I'm sorry, I'm just having fun with this first video, so please forgive me. What a unit is it's a group of models that use the same data sheet. This can be a model that is like an HQ or a character, where it's a single model, or it can be a squad of orc boys, where it can be up to 30 models in one unit. Units do have to maintain unit coherency and all sorts of other rules. We'll get into that later. Friendly models, all models in the same army. Enemy models, all models in your opponent's army. I actually like that they're defining that now. Friendly units, all units in the same army. Enemy units, all units in your opponent's army. They actually needed to define that because there is a lot of rules in this game that are all over the place when it comes to that. Unit coherency. Now this is actually pretty cool. I do like this because this is going back to a certain rulebook by this one right here for their unit coherency. It is pretty much identical in this book. So I really like that they're making a callback to 5th edition with this rule. I'm going to put this right back on my shelf. And there we go. So unit coherency is 2 inches horizontally. So the models have to be close to each other, such as these two Hive Guard have to be within 2 inches of each other to maintain coherency. But if they are in a building, they can be 5 inches vertically, which means that you measure from base to base for that 5 inches. I believe it says base to base, or 5 inches vertically. Each model must be in a unit coherency with one other unit from that unit. So yeah, it actually doesn't say, so it could just be any part of the model, I guess. I really wish I would have defined that, but whatever. While unit has 6+ models, each model must be in unit coherency with 2 other models from its unit. That is actually big because that is another callback to 5th edition and 4th edition and how they did their unit coherency, where you had to maintain it within a 5-man unit, had to maintain it within 3 men, or in this case, women, or bugs, or robots, or mechs, or vehicles. Your army. So I think that's really, really, really cool that they're finally doing that, because this is trying to get people to play with movement trays. Let's not beat around the bush. That's exactly what this is doing. Engagement range. Hey, that was that thing that I was almost in. Anyway, engagement range represents the zone of threat that the model presents to their enemies. While a model is within 1 inch horizontally and 5 inches vertically for an enemy model, I like that. You can attack a model below you, which is really cool. Those models are within engagement range of each other. While 2 enemy models are within engagement range of each other, those models' units are also within engagement range of each other. Models cannot be set up within engagement range of enemy models. Wait, what? Let me try to read that again, because that just made my brain hurt a little bit. Okay, engagement range represents the zone of threat that model presents to their enemies. So my engagement range would actually be like a wet paper bag, and I pose absolutely no threat to anybody because I am harmless. Also a pacifist, so I wouldn't have an engagement range. When a model is within 1 inch horizontally and 5 inches vertically of an enemy model, this is actually pretty cool because this actually means that an Imperial Knight can walk under something and hit it now, which is really cool and I really like it. Now, chances of that actually happening are very low, but it's possible. Also, this means that it's within 1 inch of the model, so if you can technically get the Imperial Knight up to a building, you can now hit the person in the building itself. So, that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. While 2 enemy models are within engagement range of each other, those units are also... Units are also within engagement range of each other. Okay, so if one model is within engagement range of another model, then their respected units are also in engagement range. They're locked in close combat. Engagement range. 1 inch horizontally. 1 inch horizontal, 5 inches vertical. Which I really like because that means you can't walk over somebody now. So if you're in ruins, you actually fight people regardless of which floor they're on. So I really like that. So long as they're directly above or below you. Models cannot be set up within engagement range of enemy models. So you can't deploy your guys within engagement range immediately. Like if your vehicle explodes, you can't just put your guys in combat. If you're deploying, you can't just put your guys in combat. So I really like that. The battlefield and terrain, the most confusing aspects of 40k. For some reason, they decided to shorten the terrain boards, and it's really dumb. And mostly they did this because other companies were selling... I can't talk about that. But anyway, they decided to shorten the game board for some reason. I don't really know why. I'm drawing a blank as to why. Anyway. Measuring distance. Distance measured in inches. Why is it measured in inches? Well, that's because us Americans can't figure out anything else that is anything different at all. That's why Battlefield Gothic failed. Anyway, always measure the closest distance between bases or hulls. So it's actually kind of cool that it says hulls and not models. So that means that something that has a giant cannon on it does not measure its range from its cannon. It actually measures it from its hull for movement. So I think that's really cool. And measuring distance. So no longer do you measure from like an antenna. You actually measure from the hull. That's pretty cool that they brought that back. Hull is any part of the model that does not have a base. Never mind. Everything that I just said just went right out the window. Screw it. I'm done. Nope. Done. Done. Okay, I'll finish the video. Anyway. Can measure distance wherever you want. That's a bullet point. That, right there, that's a rule. Can measure distance whenever you want. That could just be annoying for your opponent. If several units are tied for the closest, players resolving this rule selects which is the closest. So that gets around rules arguments for the most part. It's actually going to bring in several more arguments. Within and wholly within. Okay. So they're finally defying this rule, which I think needed... This is all just FAQ for 8th edition, by the way. None of this is really new. This is just things that should have been in 8th edition. Models within any part of the base or hull. Okay? So that means even the tiniest millimeter of that base is within, and thus gets your abilities. Models wholly within. Every part of that base or hull must be in the 6-inch bubble for your auras. So yeah. Units within and units wholly within is the same respected things, but yeah, it's kind of the same as 8th edition. Ooh, they have wobbly model syndrome in here. Sometimes you may find that a particular terrain feature makes it hard for you to place a model exactly where you want it. If you delicately balance the model in place, it's very likely to fall as soon as someone nudges the table, leaving your painted model damaged or even broken. In cases like this, provided it is still physically possible to place your model, which is very important, in the desired location, you may find it helps to leave the model in a safer position, as long as both players agree that its actual location is, where its actual location is. If later on an enemy model shooting at the model wishes to hold back in place to check visibility. Okay. So that's the same thing as 8th edition's FAQ for wobbly model syndrome, where they finally said, no, you cannot balance a hive tyrant on top of a spike. Stop it. Stop being a jerk. Alexis, you're breaking the rules again. And I'm like, what? You just worded the rules poorly, and I can balance my hive tyrant on top of a building, even though it only has a single millimeter. And thanks to wobbly model syndrome, that is poorly written, and I could do that. Alexis, stop breaking the rules. You're a jerk. Go to your room. Fine. You know, every time I do that, I accidentally kick my Space Marines that are on the ground over here. I'm still getting a home for them. Okay, so from there we move on. Now we have dice. By the way, when people said six-sided dice roll-off, oftentimes I would grab this really random dice that I had, that the lowest number on it was an 8, and the highest number was a 64, and then it was just random numbers in between. It was technically a D6 because it had 6 sides that had numbers on them. So they actually do define what this is now. Dice. D6 is a 6-sided dice. D3, D6 divided by 2 rounded up, which is weird. They actually don't define this, never mind. You can still use this trick, by the way. All modifiers are cumulative. Apply modifiers in the following order: division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. Yeah, that works. That's kind of weird, but okay. All right, I can deal with that. I can deal with that because it's finally the addition and subtraction is the last things. Because it's like, yeah. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, for anybody that doesn't know, which is, if I can remember this correctly, P is parentheses, excuse is, the hell was the E for? I forgot. Multiplication, division. Yeah, I am screwing that up, but I remember that from math class, and like my brain just stopped working for like the past 5 seconds. Anyway. This is actually good that they do mention this because a lot of people think that +1 strength and then ×2 weapons is actually like strength 10 when it's actually strength 9. But since the rules didn't clarify that, people would just apply the strength modifier. Then on top of that, just apply the times. So now it is multiplication first. So if your weapon has ×2 and then you're getting +1, you're now going to strength 9 instead of strength 10. So boom, there you go. Dice cannot be modified to be less than 1. This is actually important for leadership tests because you used to be able to do that. Rerolls. You just reroll the dice. Reroll. Roll the dice again. Rerolls are applied before modifiers, if any. The dice can never be rerolled more than once. Unmodified dice result of roll after rerolls but before modifiers, because that's not confusing at all and will not cause fights in any way, shape, or form. It totally will, but we'll see what happens. Roll-offs. Both players roll a d6, the highest player wins. If it is a tie, roll again. I'm actually upset by this, because I like the roll-off when it just said a roll-off, because I would grab my d100 and roll it, because I am stupid and have a d100. If several rules must be resolved at the same time, the player whose turn it is chooses the order and resolves them. Players have priority. This was a Yu-Gi-Oh card ruling for a while, then they took it away, and then they brought it back, then they took it away, and then they brought it back. Now it's a Magic the Gathering, and then they took it away, and now it's back. Okay. Starting strength, half strength, and destroyed units. Starting strength. A number of models in the unit when added to your army. Okay, so that is their starting strength. If I buy a 10-man intercessor squad, it is a 10-man intercessor squad. That is its starting strength. When a model is destroyed or removed from the battlefield, that's it. That's all that says. Below half strength. A number of models is less than half of its starting strength. So in the case of intercessors, we have 5. Then it goes. If we have 10, it goes in half to 5. If we have 5, it cuts in half to 2.5. I think it's actually 2. I think they round down. When the last model of the unit is destroyed, and the unit is said to be destroyed. Okay, that doesn't clarify that, but sure, there you go. I don't know what they do in the case of starting strength of a unit of 5 when it gets cut in half to half strength. Is it at 3 or at 2? I assume it's at 2, but I could be wrong. Then we have the data sheet thing. Good luck. Good luck. Okay, so the biggest thing that I want to read on this, since it's exactly the same as all other editions pretty much, is the modifying characteristics. All characteristic modifiers are cumulative, so they stack on top of each other. So if you're getting +1 strength and then you're getting +1 strength, or +1 attack from you're running a Repentia, you get +1 attack from the priest next to you, you get +1 attack from the banner, then you get +1 attack from the Triumph of St. Catherine for +3. So you have 2 attacks, you have 10, and then you double your attacks with the stratagem. You have 10 attacks. It's ridiculous. All modifiers in the apply modifiers in the following order: division, multiplication, addition, then subtraction. Strength, toughness, attacks, and leadership can never be modified below 1. Random move characteristics are determined for the whole unit at the time it moves. Other random characteristics are determined individually when the characteristics required. Characteristics of dash can never be modified, which is really interesting actually, because that means you can't get a -1 to hit, which I think is really cool. Actually, it probably does mean that you can get a modifier -1 to hit. I don't know how that would apply. There's an argument right there. Example, the Space Marine Sergeant, strength characteristic of 4 is making an attack with the Power Fist. The strength characteristic of ×2. Whilst under the effects of a psychic power that increases strength by 1. The modifier is ×2 and then +1 are cumulative, so it is strength 9. So I was correct. I have been correct about that since 4th edition, but nobody believed me because everybody called me dumb. And I'm just like, but I know the basic principles of math. You guys are just stupid. Man. Then we're going to go into battle rounds. So we have the command phase, or your untap step. We have the movement phase, then the psychic phase, shooting phase, charge phase, fight phase, morale phase. So a lot of these things are actually the same. If you play any of the following armies, you already have a command phase, which is Sisters of Battle, Chaos Space Marines, Demons, or... That's pretty much it. You already have an upkeep step, because you have to roll for your damn stupid ass... Or, sorry, my bad. Excuse the language. I do apologize. It is late. You have to roll for your miracle dice. You have to roll for your prayers, your preachers, your silliness at the beginning of the turn. They actually do have a thing for out-of-phase orders, which I think is kind of cool. Let's see. When resolving out-of-phase rules, all rules applied normally in the phase continue to apply. Phase-specific stratagems cannot be used when resolving out-of-phase rules. That's actually really big. I really like that. That is a good rule. So you can't like buff your character with a stratagem while it's the psychic phase and you're doing a shooting attack. So there you go. And I will do another video on the command phase. So, with that all being said, I hope everybody enjoyed this video as we dive into 9th edition. A lot of my things are going to be very confusing, and I'm going to try my best to get them to you as quickly as possible. If you enjoyed this video, or if you have any comments, or you enjoyed this, I said enjoyed this video twice, and now I am saying that. That is what is happening right now. Comment in the comment section down below. Also, while you're down there, please check out all the links in the description down below. That you can follow me on all sorts of social media, including Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Patreon. Patreon goes a long way to helping out the channel. It keeps me it keeps me going because I'm here in Arizona and I only have a part-time job. By the way, got a part-time job. Yeah, neat. Anyway, as always, I'm NornQueenAlexis. I love you guys. Bye.